Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. We release a video each week showcasing an interesting Path of Exile character build that has been submitted by a player. We weren't able to do a video last week because we were hosting the public stress test weekend, which was a great success. If you took part, thanks very much for your time and feedback. Today's character is a level 51 Bow Templar called Burnhard. It's built around incinerating monsters with burning damage and does this in a pretty interesting way. The first thing to note is that Templars don't normally use bows. Good bows have high dexterity requirements, which a Templar would really struggle to meet. This character gets enough dexterity to use a Grove bow, which is sufficient for this build because he doesn't need physical damage. I believe that this bow was also picked because it attacks quickly. His key attack is Burning Arrow, which is supported by several support gems: Chance to Ignite, Weapon Elemental Damage, and Elemental Proliferation. This means that monsters are ignited frequently, even without a high critical strike rate. As we explained in the last video, the Elemental Proliferation support gem means that once one monster has been set on fire, all the other ones nearby also become affected. In order to maximize both fire and burn damage, he's picked as many elemental passives and burn passives as he can get. A key choice for this build is the decision to use Elemental Equilibrium. This keystone passive rewards players who use different elements in combat. When a monster has been hit by one type of damage, it becomes more resistant to that element and less resistant to the others. Because the primary damage dealt by this character is fire damage, it's important to find ways to hit monsters with other elements first. The way that this character achieves this is to build a totem that fires sparks of lightning with additional cold damage and the faster projectiles support gem. If he lays down this totem before he hits the monsters with fire damage, then they'll be especially vulnerable. He also has the Fire Trap skill, combined with added lightning damage. I don't know whether this works the way he wants to with Elemental Equilibrium, but I do know that with the amount of burn and fire damage passives that he's picked, it's quite devastating. The Elemental Weakness Curse is of course vital to a build like this, because it increases the monster's vulnerability to fire damage. Because their resistances are applied to both the initial fire damage and the burn damage, it's important to get rid of those resistances. Last week's patch added weapon swap tabs. This character has taken advantage of these by having both a shield and the leap scam gem available at a moment's notice if he decides he wants to start blocking or to leap over an obstacle. He also has Detonate Dead available on this alternate weapon in case necromancers are nearby and he needs to clear away the corpses. I'll now demonstrate this character in the Merciless Ledge. When you encounter a group of monsters, you should first lay down the totem so that they get hit by other elements than fire. Curse them so that they're going to take extra fire damage, and then hopefully get some burning damage going on. As you can see, it spreads to all the nearby ones, which deals with them relatively quickly. These particular skeletons are a little bit fire resistant, but they still die fast to this. The build also has fire traps available. You can just throw them in the face of the monsters. Of course, it's important to keep the Elemental Weakness curse going while you're doing that. Although it's a little more risky, you can try to round up quite large groups of monsters to attack them all at once. Of course, having phase run available for mobility definitely saves a bit of time when hunting for monsters. A possible area of improvement for this character could be its defensiveness. It's quite vulnerable and can die within a few seconds of being surrounded. Although changing this build to have a lot more life is quite difficult, I'd consider maybe getting a granite flask for emergencies. Path of Exile is currently in closed beta. If you'd like to play it before it enters open beta later this year, please buy a supporter pack from pathofexile.com. If you've built a character that you'd like us to feature in one of these videos, please let us know on the forums. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and consider following us on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks very much for watching and see you next week.